As the LIV prepares to host its fifth tournament outside of Chicago, Greg Norman, LIV CEO and Commissioner, reveals the league has no desire to talk about a truce with the PGA Tour. Stay tuned as we talk about today's hot topic. Norman says LIV Golf Circuit has no interest in truce with rival PGA Tour. So, what's all the fuss about Greg Norman and the PGA Tour? For the diehard golf fans, it's no surprise that Greg Norman now belongs to a different golfing league than the PGA Tour. In October 2021, when LIV, the Saudi-financed Gold League, came into existence, Greg Norman was appointed as a CEO there. To the world of golfing, Greg Norman is indeed a renowned name. During his whole PGA Tour career, he won around 89 professional tournaments. Among these were 20 PGA tournaments and 2 majors, the Open Championship in 1986 and 1993. The fact that Norman had the best time of his career with the PGA is just undeniable, and because of his stern golf shots and appearance, he would often be referred to as the Shark. So, what exactly went wrong with Greg Norman and the PGA? You might be too young if you blame all the fuss between Norman and the PGA on the Saudi-backed golf league LIV. But guys, actually, this isn't the matter. Norman had serious issues with the PGA even though he had achieved a successful career there. And what if we told you that his rivalry with the PGA is as old as 28 years? This is what it is. We're not denying that LIV paying out some insane amount of money to Norman as a head is the only reason he went there. However, another reason Norman went to the rival golf league is 3 decades-old humiliation. And guess what the humiliation was, nonetheless, by the PGA Tour? Here's all the tea on what happened in 1994 to Greg Norman while he was still playing for the PGA Tour. So, in 1994, Greg Norman was offered a proposal for a world tour. This was the exact time when he experienced his first heartbreak with the PGA Tour, even though he had an abundance of success on the American ground. But he also saw the opportunities that were present beyond the tour's borders. Norman always wanted to explore golf all around the world, but was confined to the PGA. It was in 1984 when he played his first full season on the PGA Tour and got his first victory at the Kemper Open. Playing for the PGA at a time when golf was already considered a game for the elite class was indeed a huge deal. And Norman being able to secure a victory at the ground was a much more exciting thing, but guess he never got happy with such accomplishments. Norman always had these feelings in his heart about why his abilities are limited to the tour's ground and why he can't play all around the world. Now, y'all must be wondering why he wasn't allowed to play outside the PGA. As a PGA Tour member, you must follow some certain rules and regulations, and of course, permissions to obtain them. Here, Norman had a lot of rules to adhere to and permissions to ask for. And even if 3 decades have passed, the PGA stipulations still haunt him to this day. Norman explained in his 2006 book, The Way of the Shark, "It still frustrated me to death why, as an independent contractor, I couldn't get out there and expand on my true market value that I truly believe I had. Same with all the other players." So, this grudge towards the PGA Tour forced him to start a rival tour that would bring the best golf players together worldwide for some attractive packages. And of course, for that purpose, he became the CEO of an upstart golf league, the LIV. Norman says LIV Golf Circuit has no interest in truce with rival PGA Tour. Greg Norman joining the LIV brought this tornado into the world of golf. Because LIV is financed by the Saudi government, any player joining them was associated with them, which wasn't something the audience would appreciate anyway. And this funding source led PGA to develop some fierce rivalry with LIV Golf. Apart from this, both golfing leagues have already been battling for the best golfers in the world for almost a year. At the beginning of the LIV, Norman revealed that he would talk to the PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan about figuring out ways that both leagues could coexist. However, as the new games are scheduled, Norman says he's no longer interested in doing so. While talking to the Australian in an interview this week, Norman said, "We have no interest in sitting down with them, to be honest with you, because our product is working." And we can see why Monahan had been unwilling to sit down and resolve the matters with the LIV Golf. The reason is obvious, as several past major championship winners, including Dustin Johnson, Cameron Smith, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, and Bubba Watson have been lured to the LIV with bonuses worth $100 to $200 million. Norman also added, "That's why we are where we are today. We tried awfully hard. I know I did personally for the past year. When we knew we were never going to hear from them, we just decided to go." And if we look at the number of players that have changed sides to the LIV Golf, it's honestly more than a dozen. And among these players, many have resigned their memberships as well. Resources have also revealed that Monahan himself suspended plenty of players who competed in LIV Golf tournaments without conflicting event releases. While we thought that no more players would flock towards LIV, we were smashed with a surprise. Just now, a third-ranked golfer in the world and reigning Open Championship winner resigned at the PGA to join LIV Golf. Yes, you guessed that right. We're talking about none other than Cameron Smith. Has Norman actually talked to the PGA Tour Commission? Now, many of us might think that as both Norman and Monahan are rivals to each other, they might have a hard time communicating with each other. Because of this, many fans were in a surge of doubt whether Norman discussed the matter with Monahan. A source told ESPN that Norman attempted to communicate with Monahan in February of 2022. The resource also revealed that Norman left several letters and a voicemail shortly before LIV Golf announced its 2022 gaming schedule. Some of the letters revealed that Norman accused Monahan of going way too far in controlling the lives of golf players. He also said that it is unfair how Monahan controls every player's life and threatens them with lifetime bans and suspensions. Norman wrote, "Simply put, you can't ban players from playing golf. Players have the right and the freedom to play where they like. I know for a fact that many PGA players were and still are interested in playing for a new league, in addition to playing for the tour. What is wrong with that?" And with that said, Greg Norman talked about what he had been through, and still, a number of players go through the same. What is wrong with allowing players to make their own decisions about where to play and how often to play? What is so wrong with player choice? Why do you feel so threatened that you would resort to such a desperate, unwise, and unenforceable threat? Players are launching a lawsuit against the PGA Tour. Whenever we thought that's all to the PGA Tour and LIV Golf rivalry, they make sure to surprise us with something new and much more shocking. So on August 27th, LIV Golf joined a bunch of its players when they filed an antitrust lawsuit against the PGA Tour. All players claim that the PGA Tour has used its monopoly power to squash competition and unfairly suspend players for competing in LIV Golf events. Norman revealed to the Australian that LIV Golf never wanted to destroy the PGA. Still, instead, the plan was to be an additive to the existing golf ecosystem. It was always an additive to all tours. This notion that we're trying to destroy tours is not true. The PGA Tour is trying to destroy us. It's as simple as that. However, if we look at Monahan's previous record, he had some other things to say. LIV golfers need us so badly because those players have chosen to sign multi-year lucrative contracts to play in a series of exhibition matches against the same players over and over again. It's just uncertain when this PGA Tour and LIV Golf rivalry will come to an end. Meanwhile, we can hope that the players get what they desire. And this leads to the end of today's video. So, are you curious to see where the PGA Tour and LIV Golf rivalry ends? What are your thoughts on PGA Tour's rules and regulations? And when will this conflict end, or will it remain open for a long time? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. And we'll see you in the next one.